Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of A Handful of Hope. I am so happy and grateful to have Mostafa here with us today, who's a serial entrepreneur, author, business coach, founder of Persyo Inc and creator of Simple Marketing Formula, the Quarterly Planning Workshop, Simple Marketing Mastermind, Viral Coefficient Formula, Simple Time Management Formula. Mostafa has been coaching and consulting for the past 10 years, helping businesses in various niches and industries grow and scale and become more profitable. He's an avid skier, hiker, reader, and he loves to spend time with his family in his free time. Married to, how do you say your wife's name, Mustafa?
Ziba.
Ziba. His sons' names are Ali and Sina. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
His burning desire is to have harmony in life. Mustafa specializes in helping coaches, authors, and experts create and implement their one-page marketing plan in 7 days or less. Mustafa, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we've gotten to be friends over the last month and a half, couple months, and you've told me before off camera that you have a pretty incredible story of the last 8 months of your life, and I was hoping you'd be willing to share it here for all to see.
Sure thing. I would be happy to.
Yeah, man, let's hear it.
So where do I start? Back from September up until January this year, I was under a lot of stress for 2 or 3 reasons. One, for my business. 2 was financially, and 3, one of my family members was not feeling good. Let's just put it that way. And that was really hard on me, and there was a lot of undue pressure on me. There was so much pressure and stress that by early December, I started getting pain in my fingers on my left arm.
Wow.
And the pain didn't let me sleep. And so what happened is I went to a doctor. We did an ultrasound, and she said that you've developed a benign tumor in your left arm. And so that was a pretty big wake up and aha moment for me, that I need to be careful about what I'm doing, because this could be what's the opposite of benign tumor? What's the bad tumor?
Malignant, I think.
Malignant. Yeah, this could be very well be a malignant tumor, and that really scared me. So this thing didn't let me sleep for like a good 4 or 5 months. Went out and did the ultrasound, and she's like, you gotta watch out and take care. And the rest of it, meanwhile, I was dealing with family and business issues. And what's the rest of the story? I tried different things. Like, my doctor put me on some codeine 3 pills to get rid of the pain, and it was still not on some nights taking care of it. And what happened was I just kept taking the pills. Some nights I would take 2 of them. These pills would knock me out, but I would still have pain in my arm. And I usually also read about 20 or 30 books a year. Now, starting December to January, I could not read books anymore. Like, my gut feeling, my brain goes, we're not reading anymore. We're done. It's not going to read anymore. And then, so I started taking the pills. Now, I do fasting quite a bit. I fast a lot. Like, I fast 2 days a week. Monday and Friday, I fast. Like, I do water fasting and stuff. So I noticed when I was fasting, I wouldn't have pain in my arm. But when I eat, it would get painful in a matter of 10 to 30 minutes. And I read somewhere that sugar is the food for cancer cells or all these tumors. So I was like, oh, that's probably what's going on. So I started fasting extensively, like 7 days a week almost. I'm like, so I went to doctors, we did an ultrasound, and they're like, yep, the tumor is there. We got to schedule you for a operation to take this thing out. And then apparently it is developed on my nerve. And she's like, the doctor was like, if you do this operation or do this surgery, there is a chance that it might hurt your nerve. I'm like, I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid a surgery. So I'm like, I'm just going to fast it out. And so I started fasting. I did some extensive 3 or 4 day water fasting back to back. And that got rid of the pain. And in the process, I lost about 12 kilos, which I didn't have a lot to lose to begin with, but my body is back to what it was when I was 18, basically. Anyway, so this fasting process for me was what I call it as, I would categorize it as a taming process. Like just to be able to put food aside and stay the course for 3 or 4 days, to not eat and just drink water. And it was kind of tough. Some points my arms and my legs would start shivering and I had a hard time sleeping, but I just went through with it. So that was a pretty taming process for me. Like, I think it got rid of some of my, I'd say, bad behaviors.
So what was it about? Because I know you said you felt the difference between when you'd fast on Monday and Friday and when you wouldn't, the pain. But to go from twice a week, 1 day each, to doing, it sounds like 3 consecutive days.
Yeah.
What was it that made you believe that that was going to produce a result? Or was it more of that you didn't want to take the chance for the surgery? So since you were seeing some sort of progress there, you thought, I'm just gonna go all in on this thing and see if it works.
So I've done some extensive research and reading on fasting, and a lot of cancer patients fast for like 40 to 60 days to get rid of the cancer cells, because cancer cells live on sugar, basically. So once you do that, you starve the cancer cells to death, basically, and that's how you get rid of it. So I knew that if I keep fasting, it's going to basically get rid of it at some point. Eventually, they're not going to get enough food. Yes, I'm going to lose some weight. And I lost weight to a point where people are starting saying, you're losing too much. What's going on? And I'm like, this is what's happening. I just have to fast this out until this tumor thing is gone. So that's where that came from.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then it was like noticeable. When I eat, the pain goes right back up. But then after I did these 3 or 4 day fasting, like back to back, the pain has almost disappeared. But then sometimes when I eat too much sugar, it's still not 100% gone. It just comes back in, which is a warning sign. And another part of this story is that in January, when I was dealing with my brother, and he wasn't feeling good, and he flew back home for me. I was born in Tehran, Iran. I am Persian Canadian. So he went back home to the family, and I thought, you know what, he flew out on a Friday, and I'm like, okay, I'll take the weekend off, and on Monday I'll get back to work. And Monday came, I didn't feel like working. Tuesday came, I did not feel like working. Next Monday, like a few weeks went by, and I'm like, I'm in no mood to work. Then I decided to surrender and sit back and just give myself time and room to heal.
What was your work habits like before that?
Like work like crazy, like a madman.
Like how many hours a week? How many days a week?
I would work from 7 a.m. to probably 7 p.m.
12 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week?
Because I love what I do, and I just keep going. And I've been doing that for like 3 or 4 years. And then back then I was like, you know what? I haven't given myself room to heal. And so I would pick up my book. I would read 2 or 3 pages, and then I wouldn't continue. And I usually don't put a book down if I like it. So what happened was I decided to just let go, sit back and surrender, and let myself heal, basically. And so I did. I basically stopped working. I was doing this fasting thing, and I would just manage the bare minimum on my business, like get on the phone or do the meetings. I wouldn't book a lot of meetings. I would sleep in till like 2 in the afternoon. I just let go. And so, and I noticed that I'm enjoying the process. And I'm like, and I learned this process probably 10 or 12 years ago from some guru that was teaching it. Can I share that process?
Yeah, please. Absolutely.
Okay. So it says, if you're not feeling good, there's a 3 or 4 step process to let that feeling of hurt or frustration or anxiety or depression or whatnot, to let it go. Step 1, acknowledge how you're feeling. Acknowledge that you're hurt or you're tired or you're depressed or whatever that is. Step number 2, acknowledge and understand your avoiding mechanism. And so each person has a different type of avoiding mechanism that we all do. Some people drink, some people smoke, some people watch movies, some people talk, some people go shopping, some people go fishing, some people, different things that people do. So you got to know and understand what is it that you do to avoid how you feel bad. Now, for me, sometimes I go out in the mountains, sometimes I read, sometimes I drink and, do different things. So, and then the next step is know and understand what your avoiding mechanism is. Avoid the avoiding mechanism. Stay in that feeling and let it take its course. It may take a day, it may take 2 days, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, however long it is. Just stay there and let it be. And connect with how you're feeling and understand why you're feeling that way so you can get to the bottom of it. So I did that. I let myself be. I was at home. I wasn't going anywhere. And then what happened was Corona came. COVID-19 hit the world. And they're like, nobody's working. Everybody's staying home. And business is done. And I'm like, yes, this is amazing.
You've been training for it.
Yes. I'm like, I'll just continue doing what I've been doing. This is working amazing. So as soon as they're like, nobody's working, business is done, I'm like, awesome. I'm just going to keep sleeping in and doing my thing. And so I think about a month or 2 or 3 weeks after that, it was a Thursday afternoon. I signed up a new client. And that was the moment when my brain goes, all right, we're done with this. We're going to move forward. So on that call, I told my new client that I'm going to run Simple Marketing Formula starting on Monday. This was a Thursday afternoon. And on Monday, I started Simple Marketing Formula with like 18 or 20 people in there. So that was the story.
That's incredible. So you literally went from working 12 plus hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week, no time off except to sleep, to getting a tumor that you can physically feel is inhibiting your movement. There's a high risk that the removal of it could cause permanent damage. You had tinkered in fasting, semi-regular practitioner of it, much more so than most people, to going to this other extreme of it, believing that it will, to then letting go of, going from really 12 hours, 5 to 7 days a week of working to sleeping in till 2 to, not working, to then COVID comes around and you realize that you've been training for staying at home, to all of a sudden you wake up one day and you realize, okay, it's go time again.
Yeah. And so right after that Thursday, I've been working 16 to 18 hours a day since. And we have developed the most comprehensive planning and implementation program in the market in the past 3 months.
I'm curious, Mostafa, as you're working now with these long hours again, are you feeling stress or anxiety like you were beforehand?
Absolutely not. And if I didn't take those 2 months off, there is no way I could have pulled off what I pulled off in the past 3 months. No way.
Why is that, do you think?
Because
where did the stress go? Like, how is it that you're working, go all of a sudden from that lackadaisical to now you're fully immersed at a massive level? and then there's no stress, no problems with the hand, no problems with the arm, no pain.
I think that the month and a half, 2 months of sitting back and surrendering and let myself heal took care of a major portion of that. It's like acknowledging to myself that, yes, I need to take time for myself and acknowledge what has happened to me. And then the healing process. And fasting is pretty healing too. I don't know how much you have looked into fasting, but it's a whole world into itself.
Yeah. I try to do it Monday through Wednesday, Monday through Thursday, and do intermittent. So where it's all my eating's condensed into 8 hours and then 16 hours fast.
Yeah, I do that almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
I skip breakfast every day and then just do lunch and dinner.
Yeah, I love my breakfast, so I'll usually skip dinner. And I get up super early, so I get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And to go to the gym early, and then so I'm ready to eat. But on the weekends, usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll let myself kind of have a more regular schedule, just because I love food so much that it's and I love my snacks. But I do, Monday through Wednesday, Monday through Thursday, I try to get 3 days in of it. So
what's been your experience on that?
I actually really like it. At first, I was super skeptical because I learned how to eat basically through bodybuilding. And bodybuilding was eating 6 to 8 meals every 2 to 3 hours, shoving calories down. And the idea of not having food in front of me, in waking up and eating and going to bed eating. I remember when I first started working out, I weighed 165 pounds. The heaviest I got with working out was 242, 245. And then I usually stay around 220 something. So I remember, though, to gain that weight, I would literally sometimes wake up in the middle of the night to drink weight gainer shakes. But that was what I was taught with bodybuilding. And to unlearn that and to go into something different. But, what was really interesting is I found that I did feel a little clearer. I felt like my sleep was better at night. I felt like I hated going to bed with a heavy stomach and then waking up and you have your heart racing or whatever it is because your body's trying to metabolize stuff down. And I felt like too, it reduced some inflammation in my body. I do feel like it's a healthier routine for me, and I feel like I'm a little bit more energized and clear-headed from it too.
Yeah. I think the number one killer of inflammation in the body is fasting.
Yeah.
And there's like books and books of benefits for the body. I basically watched a couple of documentaries on fasting and benefits of fasting, and I was blown away. Like, they are curing some uncurable diseases with fasting, including cancer and Alzheimer's and a whole bunch of other stuff. That it's amazing when you stop eating and what the body does. That's a whole conversation for another day. But
yeah, and man, though, it makes sense, because I was fully a skeptic at first with it, because it's thinking, oh, you're starving yourself or whatever, right? That's because that's coming from that bodybuilder reading Men's Fitness, reading Muscle and Fitness magazine. But then when you actually start to just think of it practicality, right? If somebody smokes all the time or somebody eats junk food all the time, you stop smoking and your skin ends up improving, your health improves, your lung tissue gets better. You stop eating sugar all the time, maybe your teeth get better, whatever there's instant byproducts, right? And it would make sense then that if food is feeding and fueling the bad stuff growing inside of us, that if we stop feeding and fueling that, eventually that which we don't want to feed would cease to exist. It would wither, die, submit, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist nor a nutritionist, and I don't play one on TV, so I won't claim that I understand or know everything. But what I will say is, from talking to people like you, conversations I've had, my own personal experience, it does seem to have some validity to it, especially with, and I've heard conversations of people who are really dialed into it. They swear by it.
Oh yeah. So when you eat junk food or when we smoke, some of those poisonous material in the body, they never exit the body other than by fasting. even some poisonous chemicals in the body that are created as a result of anxiety and stress and the rest of it, some of it never exits the body, and it's like into different layers of the body, and those don't leave and exit the body. The only way to get it out is by fasting. They're like dead cells, especially in our brain and in our skull, that they accumulate around our brain. Those don't leave the body and the brain other than by fasting, by this process called autophagy. And so it is fascinating what the body can. So when I started reading and researching into fasting, I learned about what the body is capable of doing in terms of healing itself. I was fascinated by that process.
I'm curious now, contrasting your 12 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week with the amount you're putting in now. Do you feel like you have more energy and you're clear focus, you're more clarity now than you were before?
Absolutely.
So it's almost like, man, like listening to you, there's like this multi-layer of fasting where it's not just the physical fasting of the food, but you actually took a fast from work too, in many ways.
Yes, I did.
Right? And just the craziness of life beforehand. And I know from talking with you this last, month and a half, that your business is really starting to like explode too.
Yes, that's true.
Was there a mindset shift for you with that, Mostafa, from letting go of that identity, that behavior you had before to, how did you get to the point of surrender and trusting and that was what you needed? Was it more of like you felt you had to because of your health, or was it something that you innately felt guided by? Because I can imagine for a lot of people, like, it's hard, and I'll speak from personal experience, it's hard to turn things off. It's hard when, I think, especially in the entrepreneurial world, we are so hardwired to grind it out and push harder. And we have these metrics between us, right? Well, hey, dude, I see you up at 10 p.m. I was up at 11 p.m. Oh, you work 6 days, I work 7 days, right? So was it making that shift for you? Was it a struggle to make that shift, or was it more of just situational surrender? Talk to us about that.
So when I first decided to let go, my brain, and you know how the brain goes, oh my God, I got to do this. Oh my God, I got to do that because I've got all these things that I got to take care of. And what if I don't show up to this meeting? What if I don't do this marketing piece? What if I don't update my website? What if I don't email my list? What if I don't follow through with my promises and the rest of it? And then when I let go, I sat down and I remember a few days where I was like, well, what if I don't update my website? What if I'm not on Facebook creating a video? Yeah, people are not going to hear from me. Big deal. Right? And when I stopped, I was like, okay, let's do this and see what happens. And what happened was nothing really bad happened, except that I gave myself some room and space. Now, back in December, I talked to a lady that I forgot her name, and she was a psychologist from California. She introduced me to the idea of tapping. Are you familiar with tapping?
Yep.
So there's this guy on YouTube. His name is Brad Yates. He has a whole bunch of tapping videos about different situations. And like what I'm looking at right now is as tapping about anxiety. And he has a bunch of different videos about different things. Being hurt, self-love, about 5 minutes. Now, I went through a whole bunch of these tapping videos where it's like a guided tapping session where he taps on the skull and then he does here and the checks here, and then he has a process. Anyway, now, one of these things was about an injury of some sort. And I remember one of the things that he mentioned in there, that it said that I understand somewhere along the lines of, I understand that I'm hurt. And I understand that being hurt is probably serving me in a way or two. And that really resonated with me. And I'm like, this little benign tumor that I've got here is probably serving me in a way or two. And all this sleep that I'm losing is serving me in a way or two. I don't know what it is and how it is.
Wow.
But it is doing it. So it may be a wake-up call for me. The body is going, the way you're going is probably not working the best right now. And I'm going to give you this mechanism to just change you, like do a fundamental change in the way you do things. So this has, I believe now that this little tumor that showed up has served me more than it hurt me, I guess.
Dude, that's incredible. How powerful is it to ask that question and to have that conversation with the pain and assume that it's there for service as opposed to as punishment, which most of us take that pain and we use it as our kind of our get out of jail free card for why I can justify this not happening, life being not fulfilling, unhappy, miserable, or whatever it is, but instead considering it as something there to serve and benefit of, and then having that discussion of what could that possibly be.
Absolutely. I think I learned from that to embrace pain and to listen to my body language, which I heard and read somewhere years ago, is like, when your body is talking, listen to your body language. It's trying to say something. Something is not working. Something is not aligned with my goals and with what I want in life and who I am and the rest of it. So,
Mostafa, I know you have a tight turnaround, so I want to make sure we touch on business really quick. Talk to us about the one-page marketing plan in 7 days or less. I feel like that is such a powerful thing for entrepreneurs because you and I know a 3-minute scroll on Facebook is going to show you 15 different ads from 15 different gurus that are all going to promise 7 figures by the end of the weekend, following this simple formula with the 3 secret tips and tricks that nobody else knows and are rarely talked about and hardly ever mentioned, right? And so it's gotten to the point where we've all seen them so many times that it's almost comical, and then you end up going in and you find out it's much more complex than that. But the 7 days, and I think one page in 7 days or less, talk to us about that, because that seems like such a simplistic, easy to follow, and manageable tool that would be so powerful for whether it's a solopreneur or a company to have.
I appreciate it, and thanks for asking. So what I specialize in is I help coaches, consultants, and experts create and implement their one-page marketing plan in 7 days or less. And we do that through our course, Simple Marketing Formula Bootcamp, which is actually a 6-day live interactive bootcamp where we work together with a group of entrepreneurs and business owners who are committed and serious about growing and scaling their business. Now, a problem that I've been seeing and encountering working with business owners over the past 10 years is that I see a lot of business owners that are poking around at different marketing and business ideas without an overall goal or aim or direction or plan. And what happens is that results in a lack of results, anxiety, frustration, depression, and overall failure rate is pretty high through that process because they don't know what they want. They don't know where they're going, and they don't have a plan to get there. And it's pretty hard to get something that you don't know what it is. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So through this course, we get together 2.5, 3 hours a day from Monday to Saturday, work in a group environment because we believe in community and simplicity. We work together with our group. We do a lot of breakout sessions and mastermind sessions on top of what we teach. And then we try to keep our marketing and business growth simple on a one-page plan. And at the end of the day, we try to figure out what is our goal? Who is our target market? What do we specialize in? What is our offer? What does the new market want from us? Because things have changed a lot in the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And then what are we doing to generate leads, convert them, and keep our customers? And so what is one thing I've got to do to generate leads? Because I know a lot of people that are trying 12 different things, and what happens is none of them are working.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. That's us.
That's awesome. And you were saying that you were able to fill Thursday, you signed up your new client. You told me you're going to offer the course on Monday, and you filled it with 20 people in just 4 days?
3 days.
3 days.
3 days. Something
Yeah,
like that.
Friday, Saturday, something like that. But
Yeah,
going from completely absent, and I just want people to really understand this, because for many of us who struggle to take that break, to surrender to process, even though we can feel the tug on us to take some time, you took that time and were able to come back from that time, and in 3 days fill a course, and you've been going nonstop, super busy, lots of people coming in, and you have been serving in a massive way entrepreneurs, business professionals, and helping them get their marketing stuff squared away, and really evolving and catapulting their businesses forward with that.
that's right.
All from surrendering and trusting in the process and letting go.
That's right.
Dude,
And if I didn't take that time off, there was no way I would have been where I am right now. Just no way. Because I would have continued to be frustrated and hurt and depressed and all that. It's
yeah.
like,
I mean, really, Mostafa, I guess this would be a great last question. If you had have taken that time off, and if you would have continued to be depressed and stressed and frustrated and hurt, where do you think where do you think it would have taken you or led you to?
I would have probably continued to be the same state and my business wouldn't have changed at all. It would have just keep being the same daily struggle of getting up in the morning. What am I going to do? And then get tired. I feel like I was in a hamster wheel.
Hmm.
Because at some point we get so used to this daily routine that is not really going anywhere. Because I feel like when I took time back, I took time to sit back and relax and let myself heal. I was looking at the picture. I had a chance to see my picture and see what's going on. Right. I got back and I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm usually up 6 or 7 in the morning. I think I'm going to sleep in today and see what that's going to feel like. I had nights when I was like up till like 7 or 8 in the morning. And then I slept in at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And it felt wrong at the time, but I'm like, well, if the body wants that, I'm going to give it to it. And then I did that, the screwed up sleeping pattern. And then after a few days, my brain goes, we're done with that. We're going to go back to the regular sleep.
Huh. And you just trusted in that process.
I just trusted my gut feeling in that.
Wow.
Like the gut was like, we're not going to read a book anymore. Here's another thing that came up. My gut feeling was that I have read a lot of books in the past 10, 15 years. One of the things that was coming up is like, I am done reading new stuff and learning new stuff. I need to put the pieces together and make something out of what I know already. That was the thought that was coming up. And I'm like, okay, I'll give myself enough time to heal and make something out of what I already know, which then in the past 3 months, I came up with I think, and I could be biased, with the most comprehensive planning and implementation program. So, and again, if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this.
Mostafa, one last question, and I know you got to go. I'm really curious, in trusting your gut, had you had that feeling, or did you have kind of a knowing in the back of your mind that your gut was trying to pull you, your body was trying to tell you to take a break, to listen, and you were just shoving it down and ignoring it?
Oh yeah, for a while. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. From last summer, it's like, I need to take some time off. I probably need to go take a vacation. And what I would do is I would drive to Banff here in our backyard, go spend a day in the mountains and do some barbecuing, which was that avoiding mechanism. I did not let myself heal. It's like, yeah, I had one afternoon, we sat by fire, we made some barbecue, we had a few laughs and jokes about it, came back, get back to the grind, but I didn't fully. Here's the thing, I think giving ourselves permission to do that, to sit back, to heal, and give ourselves the permission to, and it's that fear of losing. What if I don't do my marketing, right?
Mm.
What if I don't show up to that meeting? What if I don't book 5 meetings this week? What's going to happen? And I'm like, all right, let's let it go and see what happens. And then nothing happened and I healed.
Everyone, this is one you're going to want to rewatch and really, really listen closely to. I think what Mostafa really laid out here is a journey that all of us have found ourselves knowing that we need to undertake at some point in time. And yet we will often negate that sense of knowing, that gut feeling, that pull that is trying to tell us to do something. And instead we will drown it out with the voices of, well, what about this? What if that? What if that? And the rational irrationality that if we don't, no one will, and the world will end and everything will go to hell in a handbasket if we actually stop. What I think is so incredible about the story he shared with us today is the notion of it wasn't so much he needed to learn something new, it was he needed to implement all that he had. And it sounds like that what he already had at his disposal was not only the formula to make his business wildly successful, but the formula to heal and take care of his health and not only get rid of a tumor, but to get rid of the stress and anxiety that had plagued him and held him back for so long. His life is more energetic, more successful, more fulfilling, more meaningful because he was willing to listen to that gut. And one of the things that I would really encourage all of you to do today is, what is that voice? What is that feeling you've been ignoring? What is that gut feeling been telling you? Maybe it's to wind down, maybe it's to take some rest, maybe it's to take some time, maybe it's to rethink things, or maybe it's just to shut it off and go out into nature and do something different. You know, Mostafa's story is so incredible in that he finally allowed himself to listen and trust. And in listening and trusting, he was able to surrender, let go, and embrace a new way of being that has led him to a place where I think he's doing pretty well right now. And he's not only that, but I love the energy he puts out, and you can tell. One of the things I love about people when they tell stories is the congruency check. You know, there's a congruency that people have when you can tell they're living what they're saying. And I can sense and feel that congruency from Mostafa today. Mostafa, thank you so much for sharing, man. I know you got to jump off. This has been absolutely incredible. I so appreciate you, your story, your journey, and your wisdom that you shared with us today. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Can I add one more quick point before we go?
Absolutely, man. Please.
I did not have this congruency that you talked about before this healing process. I did not have it. I kid you not. I was like, and I'm like, what changed? And people are like, all of a sudden people are like, I love your energy. I'm like, really? Anyway, I know we've talked about it for a while. I really appreciate it. I have some emotions coming up as we're finishing up. I feel like we could talk. I love chatting with you. I really appreciate being here and allowing me to share my message. And I look forward to staying in touch.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you adding that in. I think that just was like the cherry on the sundae, so to speak, that, you know, there's a fine line of what we can BS ourselves and where we can BS others, but what a freeing thing it is to not have to live that lie anymore.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. We will see you next time on another edition of A Handful of Hope. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.